Hi guys, so my name's Sierra and today I'm going to be showing you my everyday natural casual makeup look. So you're going to start off by tying your hair back so that you don't get any product in it or anything like that. So I've already done this next step, but your next step should be exfoliating and moisturizing your face. So you can start off with a fresh surface because makeup starts before the actual makeup products. Our first actual makeup step is going to be our primer. I'm using the Milk Makeup Blur Stick. This is a pore filling primer. You can really get a primer to do whatever you want. For example, if you're taking pictures, you can use a primer that will help your foundation to look better and more natural in pictures. Or if you have more dry skin, you can use a moisturizing, hydrating primer, or if you have more oily skin, you can use a mattifying primer that will make it so your skin's not as shiny underneath. But my main focus that I want to get rid of is the pores in my T-zone. So I'm gonna use this Milk Makeup Blur Stick to use my damp Real Techniques sponge and just pat it in to make sure it really soaks into the skin. So for our next step, we're going to be using foundation. I'm using the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Water Foundation, and I use this one because when I wear foundation, I don't really need a lot of coverage. I just want something to even out my skin tone, so I get something that's water-based and thin, and also the water-based will help with hydrating your skin. But they make all kinds of foundations for all kinds of skin, like primer. You can get one that's for photo, you can get one that's to mattify your skin, you can get one to make it more dewy. So for this, you're only going to need like 1 or 2 squirts to begin with, and then you're gonna use your damp beauty sponge and you're just gonna dab it all over the face and then pat it in. You don't want to swipe it in, you want to pat it in. And you want to make sure that there's no line up at your hairline, so you want to blend into your hair. Careful not to get it into your hair, but if you do, you can always just go over it with a makeup wipe. It's no big deal. And also you want to make sure that it's okay to kind of swipe, but you want to blend it down your neck so you don't have a line right here where your skin is and then where your foundation is. Okay, so for our next step, we're going to be taking our concealer. This is the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. It's another hydrating product, and I like to get my concealer a shade or two too light for me so that it brightens up, because I have darkness underneath my eyes, and the extra lightness of my concealer will brighten that for me. And I also put it on problem spots, so I put some under my eyes to cover my under eye bags, a little down the center of my nose to highlight, a little in the center of my forehead to highlight, the center of my chin, a little bit on my cupid's bow, and then on any problem spots that I have. I'm just gonna take your damp beauty blender like normal, and I like to use this side to fit under my eyes because of the sharp tip. So you're gonna pat this in too. For liquids, it's very important to tap in instead of swiping, because swiping can also take away some of the coverage of it. And for under eye concealer, you're going to want all the coverage you can get if you're like me and you have the under eye bags that you're trying to hide. And after concealer, you're going to want to use a loose setting powder. This is a Laura Mercier setting powder in translucent. You're going to want to take a little bit of this and just set your concealer just as quickly as you can so that it doesn't get all creasy. So putting on the powder makes it so that you're hiding the imperfections, the little lines underneath your eyes. See, if I go like this, you can see mine. And if I didn't set my concealer with the powder, if I didn't set my concealer with my powder, the concealer would have fallen into these lines and there would have been little fine lines of concealer. So tapping that out with the Beauty Blender really helps with that. And then also, just to lightly set the foundation, just in case, you're gonna take a big fluffy brush like this with just a teeny tiny little bit of your setting powder, because this can also make your makeup look cakey if you use too much. And you're just gonna go around your face and set your foundation. For our next step, since our face is looking very even and like one flat skin tone right now, we're gonna wanna give our face some contour back. So I'm gonna use the Benefit Hoola Bronzer, and just this, it's kind of tapered, it gets big and then tapered at the end so that it fits into the contours of your cheekbones. So you're gonna take just a little bit of this, because too much can make you look a little orange, and your bronzer and contour can look a little muddy, and you want it to look natural, like this is just where the sun is hitting and the shadows are. So to find where to put your bronzer, you're gonna find this line underneath your cheekbone. If you can feel where your cheekbone is, right here, this is where you're gonna wanna put your contour, and you're gonna want it higher rather than lower. So always put it higher than you think, because if you put it lower, it can make your face look rounder, and the point of using the bronzer is to make your face look slimmer. So you're just gonna put your bronzer or contour right along the bottom of your cheekbone, and you're gonna want to blend that in as much as you can. And then you're gonna take a little bit and put it on your temples to slim down your forehead, and you can blend that into your cheeks. And this just makes the forehead not look as large, but if you already have a small forehead, there's really no reason to do this other than it kind of makes you look tan. It makes it look like, because the sun will naturally hit right here, and it will also make the highlight that we put with our concealer in the center of our forehead pop a little bit more because of the contrast. And then I also like to put it underneath my jawline, because it kind of helps to blend the foundation in with your neck if you had a little problems. Next up I like to do is blush, and today I'm using the Tarte Amazonian Clay 24-Hour Blush in Quirky, and I'm just using this brush for my blush. You can really use whatever brush you want to for blush, just as long as you can put it in the right spot. You don't want something too big but not something too small either. So this blush is a little pigmented, so I'm just going to take a little bit and tap off the extra. You always want to be tapping off the extra. And you're going to smile and put it right on the apples of your cheeks. And I also like to put a little bit on my nose just to give it that like sun-kissed look, you know. Now next up is my favorite step, which is highlighter, and today I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Amrezy highlighter. It's this pretty gold champagne-y, and it kind of gives the skin like a wet effect and makes the skin look really pretty. This is my all-time favorite highlighter. It's a little pricey, but you always have options. They have really good Wet n Wild highlighters for only a few dollars at the drugstore. With any makeup products, there's very good drugstore options. This on a smaller, more precise brush, and you're gonna want the product to sit right at the very tip, because if you put too much of the highlighter on, because of the shimmer in it, it'll enhance any texture you have on your skin, and you want your skin to look smooth. So you just want to put the littlest bit of highlighter right here, and right here, and right here, just basically where we